Hey guys, it's your boy Aijalonwallace. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited to have you here today, guys. So let's jump straight into it. Listen, today we're going to be talking about how to start your recruiting agency in Australia. If you're looking at branching out and starting your own business at the end of the day, guys. So I got a couple of notes on the side of my screen. So I'm going to be looking, uh, you know, on both directions, but I'm here focusing on the camera, guys. So just to let you know a little bit about myself, my name is Aijalonwallace. They call me the Nomad Recruiter because I travel the world and I make places for a living. I actually used to live in Australia for over 5+ years. I studied at the University of Sydney Business School, where I got my master's degree, and I also worked for 2 recruitment agencies as well. I have nothing but great things to say about my experiences at the agencies I worked at, but I was just tired of working for somebody at the end of the day, and I wanted to make my own money. I wanted to work on my own time, and I wanted to have my own freedom. And that was what was so important to me at the time. So, listen, guys, if you're looking to start your recruiting agency or staff agency in Australia, you guys can book a call below. I do have an academy where I teach people how to scale their business to 6 and 7 figures. I have over 1,000 students in my program. You can check out the website, nomadrecruiters.com. And you guys know my slogan. It's no Lambos, it's no mansions here at the end of the day. I'm looking for hard workers, hungry people who want to take action and who want to get started. All right, guys. So listen, getting into what you're going to need starting off, some important things is probably going to be in Australia is to register your business. Now, the laws is going to be different there compared to America. So, you guys want to make sure. Often, a lot of recruiters are people from the UK, Ireland, or Americans, and you have a few Australians as well. But you need to register your business, and you need to make sure that you just have the proper visa status to start your own company at the end of the day as well. If you guys do not have the visa status and you still want to get started, you could potentially just bring on a partner who lives in Australia who can potentially just put the business name in their name until you get your visa thing settled at the end of the day. So there's a lot of opportunities there. So listen, we're gonna talk about niches. You want to niche down as well. I'm having coffee because this video is gonna be a couple minutes, so I need some coffee in me. When it comes to the niches, guys, um, you are looking at niches we are looking at niches that are potentially low in demand in regards to recruiters working on them, but also high in demand in regards to clients looking for candidates in those spaces. So you want to look for niches that are starting to grow or niches that a lot of people are not looking into because it can create a lot of opportunities for yourself. Now, if you already have a pipeline, you have clients, you have the credibility, of course, stick with what you know and do what you know as well. If you are a recruiter or just an entrepreneur, if you know sales, do sales. If you know cybersecurity, do cybersecurity. Don't overthink it as well. The great thing about being a recruiter, especially in Australia, is you're not limited to the location that you work on. So when I was a recruiter in Sydney, I worked on jobs in Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane, New Zealand, and even jobs in America as well. The great thing about my program, Nomad Recruiters Academy, we actually do show you how to work with clients in America and bring on USA clients as well. Because sometimes people are starting to say that the market in Australia has become a little oversaturated due to the demand of how many recruiters actually live there at the moment. So sometimes we are starting to see a lot of agencies in Australia recruit in the US, in the UK, and etc. Okay, guys. Listen, let's talk. The next thing you're gonna need on your list is gonna be a website. Okay. So it's important that you get your website up. Listen, you don't have to go all out glamour. It doesn't need to be the best website in the world, but you want to have the website for credibility. If you're out here asking these clients to pay you 20, 30, $40,000, they're gonna look and see if you're a legitimate business, if the credibility is there at the end of the day. If you don't have the capital or the funding to put some money into your website, you can create it yourself using platforms like Wix, WordPress, Canva, etc. The list goes on. Or you can hire an affordable web designer on Fiverr for roughly $200 to $500, depending on what you're trying to do. On that website, what you're going to need is your About Us, you need your services, you're going to need your job boards, any blogs as well, and a contact page as well. You don't need the job board when you first start off, but if you have a little bit of money saved up, I would advise you to put a job board on your page. That way, you don't have to rely on Seek and so many other platforms to secure your resumes. At the end of the day. What type of fees are charged and how does fees work? So guys, if you guys are experienced recruiters or if you're not a recruiter in Australia, it's pretty much universal for the most part. We charge a fee based off the salary. So if a candidate's making $100,000, you may charge the client 20%, and your payout would be $20,000. Now you can do retain recruitment where you get paid a third of the portion up front, or you could negotiate in your contract terms for you to be able to get paid a little bit earlier than the standard 30-day. It is pretty standard for clients to pay out after 30 days once the employee starts. But sometimes I've seen people negotiate 15 days, 10 days, etc. It just depends on the situation as well. Um, Going into learning how to source. Guys, if you are not an experienced recruiter, if you don't have a strong recruiter background, or if you did not do much sourcing, I would advise you to get into a program to help guide you in those skills. Sourcing is going to be essential and extremely important. Understanding what platforms you need for your niche is going to be important. If you are specializing in the healthcare space, your candidates may not be on Seek or LinkedIn. They may be on other platforms such as Facebook or other nursing or healthcare platforms at the end of the day. So you need to understand your market and what type of job boards do they apply to for jobs, which is going to be essential, which is going to be important. A lot of people who are working for recruiting agencies, because I work for two, I always used to get this huge like pressure or deniability from my managers. They will always say things like, "Oh, you need 10+ years of experience to start your own agency. You need 20 years of experience to start your agency." And it's like, dude. And I'm looking, at one of my last jobs. Like I said, I love everyone in my company, but the people who started, one of the companies I worked at, they were in their 50s, like working, 80, 100 hours a week. And I'm just like, yo, I don't want to wait until I'm 50 to be free. And I don't want to be 50, 60 years old in an office with a bunch of 20-year-olds. So, you may want to live your life now. You may want to go to Bali, work from your laptop, make 20, 40K, or make 100 grand real quick and work from your laptop in Bali, in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Brazil, in Dubai. No, you probably want to be young and live life while you're still able to move around. A lot of people don't think about those things. When you're waiting 10, 20 years, you're older, you got health complications, you can't move how you used to move. So it's just like, listen, if you want to get started now. And if it doesn't go well for you, you can always go back to recruiting. Like somebody's going to hire you if you're a good recruiter at the end of the day. But, I feel that a lot of people needs to be paid their value. And this is why people wanted to get their own agency off the ground. So, all right, guys, we got on my list recruiting software tools. So some software tools that are going to be essential and important. You have LinkedIn Recruiter, LinkedIn Lite, and Sales Navigator. Now, I would not advise you to start off with LinkedIn Recruiter as an agency owner just because that could be costly. Unless you're an experienced recruiter and you know how to use LinkedIn Recruiter, I feel like that'll be fine for my experienced recruiters out there because they probably got some commission saved up and clients already. So yes, I would have definitely advised it for my experienced recruiters. But for my people who are just getting out here, maybe you got 2, 3 years of experience and you're just like, I'm getting started. I don't want you to burn through your capital of cash flow when you're trying to bring on your first 1 or 2 clients at the end of the day as well. So I would advise LinkedIn Lite and Sales Navigator. The reason that LinkedIn is essential is to understand so you can put a face to your candidate name. It's important to understand if candidates are a good culture fit, if they're professional online, if they're presentable, if their resumes match their LinkedIn profiles, because clients are looking at LinkedIn profiles more than resumes these days. So you want to make sure that their resume add up and match up at the end of the day. So we also got um, software tools. We have other software tools are going to be tools such as Lucia, Contact Out. Another one called Swordfish.ai is another tool that I like to use. These are platforms that gives you free names. Well, not free, but they give you names and they give you numbers as well. So you can utilize these platforms to get your candidates and clients' names and numbers for business development opportunities and also sourcing opportunities. The thing about what we do is sense of urgency is extremely important. So hypothetically, if you get a job today, You don't have time to wait on candidates to apply to your job ads. So you're going to take the initiative to use platforms like Contact Out and Lucia to try to get in contact with them as soon as possible. It's first come, first serve in our space and what we do. And sense of urgency is extremely important. If you don't have sense of urgency, you may need to hire a virtual assistant to help you out with your business, depending on your time and your availability at the end of the day. All right. Okay. So LinkedIn and then Seek is going to be essential. Seek or Indeed. But I believe in Australia, Seek is it's the most popular platform, but it's very similar to Indeed, and you can use Indeed if you are working on jobs outside of Australia as well. So I would just be like I say, do research on what platforms you're going to need in America for technical recruiting. We use a platform called Dice, but we do use Indeed for our sales, healthcare, business roles. Some software engineer positions from time to time. But Dice is the more famous platform now for technical recruiting. At the end of the day, I want to talk to you about, I guess, what is a 360 recruiter as well? So a lot of people sometimes don't know what a 360 recruiter is when you're trying to get your HG off in the ground. And the reason I'm explaining this is because this is something that I teach in my program. A 360 recruiter focuses on sourcing and finding clients at the same time. As recruiters, we go by multiple different titles. You have your talent acquisition, your human resources, your talent partners on one side, and then on the agency side, you have your technical recruiters, recruitment consultants, your agency recruiters. So on this side, you got in-house, which is talent acquisition, human resource, and recruiting coordinators. These are people that work directly for a company. So they don't have to do sourcing. They don't have to go out and find their own clients. They're working directly for a company in-house. And the reason I'm trying to explain the differences is because sometimes when people are looking for coaches, they don't know what's the difference between an in-house recruiter and an agency recruiter. So I myself was an agency recruiter, and as an agency recruiter, our jobs is to pretty much, we eat what we kill. We got to go out and find our own clients every day. We got to find our own candidates every day. We got to go out and make money. So often you see a lot of agency recruiters on lower salaries, but usually with competitive commission structures. But I think the reason that so many recruiters are looking at branching out of starting their own recruiting agency is due to the commission structures, the freedom, the time, and the flexibility as well. So, guys, if you want to learn how to find clients, that's not something I can always give away. These are strategies and secrets that I do teach inside of the Nomad Recruiters Academy program. Guys, I do want to say for a lot of people that are watching this video, if you are a recruiter and you think that the way you've been taught to find clients is going to work as a entrepreneur, well, you're gonna be wrong, and I had the same mindset when I started off. I was like, "Oh, man, let me try the traditional way," and it's like, no, you're gonna have to think outside the box. You're gonna have to become more creative, and you're gonna have to have innovative strategies to show you how to find clients because the traditional rate is not enough anymore. Making 100 calls is not enough anymore. You have to be different. You have to stand out if you want to be memorable, if you want to get in front of that client as well at the end of the day. So one of the ways I will give you guys probably one secret, I guess, one strategy I like to do when it comes to bringing on new clients is creating awareness. So if you guys are experienced recruiters or you're new to the recruiting agency world, often a lot of people have opportunities to make money, but a lot of their friends, family members in the network don't know that they currently have an agency. So it's going to be important for you to create awareness. So making announcements online, texting everyone on your phone, emailing everyone, calling every hiring manager you know, letting them know, hey, I'm just starting my agency up and I'm looking for someone to give me a shot, give me a chance. I would love it, man, if you can introduce me to HR or you can introduce my agency or give me a chance to, work on one of your jobs at a discounted rate to help me get started. So a lot of people that I talked to, we had one student in my program, she got on my course, she learned my strategies, and she made 70 grand in 6 weeks. And she's like a senior executive for a food supply chain company. She can't really show her face, but she's high up and she doesn't even have a recruitment background, and did $70,000 USD in 6 weeks from joining the program. So one thing I will say about getting your agency off the ground is going to be important that you create awareness at the end of the day when you're trying to get your agency off to the ground. So a lot of people always ask me as well, do I need an office? And this is a very interesting point to talk about. Mm. So I feel like one of the reasons I left working for my recruiting agency was because I struggle working in offices. And God bless my boss. My boss, the lady that trained me and managed me, was a lady named Martha Churchill. And she's like, we're very close. We still talk to this day. But I remember one time I hated the offices, and I hated working offices, and she was going around the city to try to find me an open space. But I guess to answer a lot of people questions in Australia that are trying to get started, do you need an office space? No, you don't. You don't need to waste money or waste that cash flow at the end of the day when you can work from home. I think sometimes the office is good for some people if you are lazy, if you feel like you're going to be unmotivated at the house. I would encourage you to definitely maybe enroll or get into a co-working space, or you can work at some cafes as well if you're on a budget. But I love working at the WeWork offices. It's usually a lot of free water, free beer, free food. I mean, the opportunities are endless at the end of the day. Excuse me. So I would definitely say WeWork or any other equivalent spaces is another one. Any other equivalent, co-working spaces are amazing. And then if you start traveling the world, there are WeWork offices all over the world, but there are co-working spaces all over the world at the end of the day. But it just depends on your responsibility, like how responsible you are, how committed you are, and how disciplined you are when you are working for yourself. And that's going to be extremely important. But you don't need an office, to be honest. And it just depends on your goals. I think that we've been raised. I think that when people are looking at recruiting agencies or staff agencies, they're looking at it from the outside perspective. So a lot of people are just under assumption that, oh man, I need a team of 10, 20 people. I need 50 employees. I need 100 employees. You don't need that. If that's something you want, go get it. But you don't need that. If you want to be a millionaire, go be a millionaire. If you want to make money and be free, you can do that as well. My strategies, I like working 1 month on and 1 month off usually. So sometimes I may close one or two deals, and then I may take a month or two off because my life is way much more affordable here in Asia, and I'm able to move around and traveling around the world. Money is not the most important thing to me. Time and freedom is, as we don't have that much. I don't know whoever's watching this video, but I mean, if you know when your clock is going to stop, I would love to talk to you. But we live in this world where we feel like everything is promised, everything's going to be okay, and it's just like you have to take the risk and you have to get started. When it comes to getting your agency off the ground. But most importantly, guys, when you do start your agency, like I said, what's going to be essential, what's going to be important, is niches. Also, if you are a recruiter or any other company you're leaving, just make sure you have non-competes as well. Make sure you have make sure you don't have a non-compete in your current or previous employer, and understand when that ends as well, because you don't want no conflict when you do start your agency as well. Sometimes people ask me, do they need an additional LinkedIn profile when they get started? You can have a second LinkedIn profile when you start your agency, but you also can have a family member or your virtual assistant be the face of the company until you're ready to really make the announcement. For a lot of people that are working, I would advise you to have some capital saved up. If you're living in a place like Australia, I would definitely say, if you can at least have, I would say at least 6 to 12 months rent saved up, plus, side capital for the agency as well at the end of the day. Roughly, I would recommend anywhere from 5 to 10 grand to get you started. This is just, I'm only solely thinking about you. I'm not thinking about a team. I'm not thinking about a huge agency. I'm I'm just thinking about you getting yourself off the ground to get started at the end of the day. And after you make your first 2, 3 deals, then you can probably go at it more full time. But you have to think as well when you are, I always advise people, don't quit your job until you start bringing in deals and you start bringing in success, or you at least have enough savings saved up for you to take that initiative and take action at the end of the day. But how can you win if you're betting on yourself? Think about that. Listen, guys, my name is Aijalon Wallace. I'm the Nomad Recruiter. I travel the world and I make places for a living. If you love my content, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what other topics you want me to talk about. Check out some of my other videos on the channel as well. And if you want to get your agency started, guys, click the links below. I do have a masterclass that you can purchase. I have some ebooks that you can purchase for recruiting. And if you want to get into the Advanced Program Academy, you do have to book a call with me to get into the program, as we are selective at nomadrecruiters.com. And make sure you guys watch some of the testimonial videos. They're very inspirational, they're very inspiring and motivational. But most importantly, you have to get started. If not now, when is the question I constantly ask my students when they're trying to get their agencies off the ground. All right, guys, I'll see you later, and thanks again.